So everyone has different goals. We have women in our GlowFit program who are 75 years old and have never worked out in their life and have had injuries, but now want to kind of be able to be more mobile. And so we can like cater to each person, and it's never too late. As long as you're not paralyzed, it's never too late. And even if you are paralyzed, you can still do stuff with your neck or, whatever you have movement for. Our bodies are meant to move. Like, we are not meant to be just stagnant.
This is Doctor Talks.
Hello, ladies. Welcome back to Mastering the Menopause Transition Summit 4.0. I'm your host, Dr. Sharon Stills, and I'm here with a very special guest today, one of our sponsors, Dr. Michelle Sands. She is a friend and a colleague and a rock star. She is the founder. She's also a naturopathic physician. I love my sister naturopathic physicians who are just rocking it. And she's the founder, you can see in the back, Glow Natural Wellness. She has a thriving business where she's helping ladies all over the globe with hormones. And she is really walking the walk. She doesn't just talk the talk, she walks it too. And I love that about her. And so we're going to have a fun conversation today because this is like, I'm like, do you want to talk about what you're up to? And she's like, absolutely. And I'm like, okay, flex for us. You're going to learn what she's up to. And she is, she's just one of these women that's impressive on every level, what she's doing in the world, how she creates, her commitment to quality, and just what's going on in her life and how she's taking care of herself. So welcome to the summit, and be prepared, everyone, to be inspired over the next 30 minutes.
Oh my God, thank you, Dr. Sharon. What a great introduction. So great to be here on the 4.0 version. You're doing the God's work here, helping women understand menopause.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I can't believe it's 4.0 already, but it's like
it's 4.0, but like there's so much that women still don't know, right?
Yeah.
It's like it needs to be 100.0.
I know. Every year there's just more women that need to know what's going on and more confusion. And, it's just like,
the men have like 2000.0 because like they always get their stuff talked about.
right? I know. So this is for us ladies. So I was serious when I said you need to flex for us because you just got to see this, those guns. So inquiring minds like me want to know, like, what, I mean, I think the last time I interviewed you, like, it's not that you weren't in shape, but this is like next level.
Yeah, I've had quite the transformation. 51 years old, right? And so I've always been fit, and I've been an athlete pretty much my entire life, from the time I was in high school running track to doing Ironman triathlons and ultra marathons and different Spartan races and adventure races. So everything was endurance for me. And I was like a cardio queen, right? I did also do CrossFit for a period of time before my son was born. And I did lift some weights in the gym because I know the importance of like bone density and building muscle and having that for our metabolism. But I was never like scientific about how I lifted weights. And I never lifted weights for a specific physique or a specific goal. And in the past, since I met Coach Kijan, he's my trainer. I met him at the end, like in December. No, I actually met him in November of last year, but then I went to Vermont for a vacation for the whole month of December, came back in January to Florida. And he had a bunch of people that were training for a Spartan, it's called the Spartan DECA, which is like kind of a combination of cardio and weight training events. It's 10 events and it's a race. And so I'm like, oh, that's up my alley. I'll jump right in. But at the same time, he had a group training for a bodybuilding competition, which is like so not my thing. And so I'm like, oh, that's great. You guys are doing the bodybuilding competition. I'll jump into the adventure race or the Spartan race, and that'll be so much fun. But in hanging out with everybody, there was some crossover. There was a few people that were also doing the bodybuilding and the Spartan race. And they're like, why aren't you doing the bodybuilding? You would be so good at it. And I'm just like, oh, I've spent my entire life trying to get people not to judge me by my appearance. I am not going to do a competition where I'm going to ask people to judge my appearance. And so I had this whole view of bodybuilding, like it was very, very superficial and all about look at me, look at me. And then I started talking to Coach Keyshawn, who's been a bodybuilder for 35 years. And he is 58 years old. He's been doing it since like not 30, I guess, yeah, since his like 20s. So I guess that would be about right. And he had this whole different perspective about how it's like art and molding the body into this artistic form and the science of how the muscles work and the science of how nutrition and rest and exercise and weight training all go into like build the perfect you, not just from a aesthetic perspective, but from a hormonal perspective and a functional perspective and a bone density perspective, and even like longevity and how your skin looks and your energy levels. And so I was like, wow, this is really fascinating. And he also happened to be super holistic because I went over to his office and he has sound bowls and he had the chakras. And I'm like, okay, this is not just your typical like dumb jock bodybuilder. No offense to all the bodybuilders out there, but there is more to. He had that whole holistic aspect. He's also a life coach, so he kind of got it. So I'm like, okay, I will do the bikini division, which the bikini division in bodybuilding is kind of like the entry level. The girls are still muscular and they're still very fit, but there's not a ton of muscle. But then I learned what the bikini division had to do. And so it's very like you get on stage and then you have to stick your butt out in a bikini for the judges to kind of look at your butt. And at first, I wanted to be the girly girl. And I'm like, I want to do the girly division because I don't want to be big. I don't want to get big. And then the coach Keisha was like, you're not going to get, like, look at you. You're not going to get big. You're like 120 pounds. There's no way you're going to get big unless you take a bunch of drugs or if you eat a bunch of donuts, that's going to get you big. You're not going to get big muscles. And so I'm like, okay, well, let me just see what happens. I end up doing the next level up from bikini, which is figure and also physique, which is also the next. It's supposed to be more muscular, but it's just more balanced. It depends on your size. So I am a small person, so I'm never going to be ginormous. But I could still do very well in that division. But it's really fun. So the whole training up to it was just changing a little bit of the way I ate. So eating more carbohydrates than I was eating a little bit more protein. I had my protein down, but for most women, it's a lot more protein than they would eat. It's at least 1 gram per pound of weight. So like if I weigh 120 pounds, I was eating at least 120 grams of protein to start. But as I got more down the line of my training, I was then eating like 150 grams of protein per day, which sounds ridiculous, right? Women are listening to this and they're like, there's no way I can eat that much protein. But when you think about it, 100 grams of protein is only 400 calories. It's not that much it's a very small amount of calories. So if you're eating 1,200 calories or 1,500 calories or 2,000 calories a day, 400 calories is like a small part of that. So it's not really that much when you think about it in those terms. And it's what's going to build your muscles. It's what's going to help build your bones. It's what's going to help build your connective tissues. And it's also important for brain health. And then also I was eating more fat than I was eating because I was kind of like eating a little bit before I'm a child in the 90s. So as much as I know functional medicine, I still always reverted back to like the leaner meats, the lower fats, kind of on the lower carb side. But now I'm eating like very, very balanced, basically 40% protein, 30% carbs, 30% fat, and about 2,500 calories, which is more calories than ever before. However,
Can
it was,
can you talk about, I just want to interrupt you for a second, like
yeah.
what does that look like? Because I'm sure women are going like, what fats are you eating? What carbs
Yeah,
are you
absolutely.
eating?
So so like a typical day, and we also have a program called GlowFit where we kind of teach women how to not be bodybuilders, but get ready for a photo shoot or a wedding or anniversary, or just be like their strongest, fittest way that they can be. And so I run that along with Coach Keyshawn. He does the training. I make sure everything's hormonally balanced and safe and fun for the women. And this is what we teach. And so generally breakfast could be anything. I'm not a big breakfast food person, so I oftentimes will have leftover dinner for breakfast. If you're a breakfast person, eggs are great. So like I might have like I do like eggs. So let's go with eggs. So I might have like 3 eggs with 5 extra egg whites for omelet with like mushrooms and peppers and some tomatoes cooked with some avocado oil and make a little omelet. And then I might have like a half of a sweet potato or something like that for some carbohydrates. I don't do gluten. So if you can have like a gluten-free bread, that would be great here. But I do love like sweet potato or quinoa or something else for like a nice little carb, and then maybe some nuts for a snack. Lunch would be like either a lean meat like chicken breast or salmon that's going to get your healthy fats in there. Some rice and vegetables with a little oil on top or a little grass-fed butter. And then dinner's similar, the same. I might add in a protein shake if I'm kind of feeling a little low, or some Greek yogurt with some nuts and some berries. And that really can do it. A lot of times I'll eat again, like because I stay up late at night to do work. I'm super, super busy. So I'm a mom. I run 2 companies, and I'm kind of like a type A kind of overachiever person. So I write all my content, all my emails that go out to my audience is like me writing them. And so I stay up a little bit later. So I usually eat another, like a second dinner around like 10 o'clock. And so that's kind of how I get all my calories in. But depending on your goals, like I actually have a lot of muscle from my frame, and that has made me need more food. So a lot of times people think like as you're losing weight or as you're getting fitter, we're going to pull your calories down, but it's actually the opposite because you have more muscle, which takes up less space. So you're smaller, but you're also more metabolically active. So you need more food to maintain that muscle. So it's really kind of cool. The fitter you get, the more you can eat, and then the healthier you feel. Yeah, so it's been awesome, just the transformation that I've had in a very short time. And I think that the key, definitely the food is super important. So especially if you want abs, you want to see your abs for summer, you want to see like your muscles, like it's a big part of it is your nutrition. Because if you're eating processed foods or you're eating things that don't agree with you, you're going to hold water and you're going to feel inflamed, and you're never going to see that like cut look. But the training, I was going to the gym and I was lifting weights, but I was doing like 3 sets of 12 of the same weight almost every time. I'd go to like the lat pull down machine and it was like 70 pounds. That was my weight. And I do my 3 sets of 12, and it'd be a little bit hard, but it was like the same thing every time. And so when I started training with Coach Keaton, like it was like we did the first set, we did 20 reps, and it was like at that 70 pounds. And then the next set, we increased it a little bit, and then he might have me do like a static hold at one point, or do half rep and then a full rep, and then a half rep, then a full rep, or all these little modifications to add tension and adding like how much you're flexing your muscle. And then the other crazy thing was if I was doing an arm exercise, he had me flexing my leg muscles and my glute muscles and my ab muscles at the same time while I'm doing the arm exercise. So I was getting like double work for the time I was in the gym. And that no other trainer that I've ever worked with, and even I have a personal training certification, and I didn't know these techniques. It's not rocket science, but it is very effective when put into practice in this kind of methodical way. And it's less time in the gym, better results, and you don't have your body's not fatigued as much, which is amazing because I was doing a lot of cardio. Remember I said I was doing a lot of cardio? Well, that's hard on your adrenals. And so you feel that fatigue, you feel that hunger. You get out of the gym and you're like, oh, I'm sweating and I worked so hard. And now like my cardio is like zone 2, very easy, or a very short like HIIT workout, only a few times a week. And then the weight training, sometimes I do not even work up a sweat when I'm weight training. Like
Really?
literally I could take a shower before I go to the gym and then go straight to the office. And in the past, I would have been like, I didn't get a workout. That didn't work because I didn't sweat. I'm not tired. But that is like more hormonally compliant. Like your body doesn't always want you to beat it to hell to get a workout. And so it's been a mindset change for me with the way that we train. Sometimes it could be shorter. Sometimes we only do 2 exercises and then we're done because we can exhaust the muscle in like 1 or 2 sets and then you're done. So training to fail. Like the goal is if I say I'm going to do 15 reps, if I can only do 14 because I chose a weight that was so hard that I can only do 14, that's a victory because that means that my muscles did as much as they can possibly do. And I think it's a different way of training than women are used to, especially like you go to the gym. Well, you used to anyway. And the women's section has the little pink plastic weights, or the pink machines. And that's not what we need. We need like to actually put a stress on our muscles that is bigger than what it's used to. And when you do that, that's when your muscle's like, oh, she's doing something that's harder than we're used to doing. So now we need to grow bigger, get stronger. So in case she does that again, we're ready for it. It's just like if you cut yourself and you build up a scar, that scar tissue is thicker and like a little more resilient than your regular skin because your body is like, okay, she cut herself. We have to be careful. If she does this again, we're going to make it more tougher for her to get through it again. And it's the same thing with your muscles. You're actually, when you're working out, you're actually breaking down your muscle. And then when you're recovering and you're eating, you're building your muscles back up slightly stronger than before. And the beautiful thing, I know a lot of women are told by their doctors and told by other women their age that once you hit menopause, it's impossible to lose the menopause belly, or it's really hard to lose fat and you can't gain muscle in menopause. I've heard all these things over and over again. And I'm living proof that it's absolutely possible in a very short amount of time. Like my body transformed in just about 3 months. And so if you guys are on Instagram, my Instagram is Dr. Michelle Sands. I actually posted like some before and afters, and you could even scroll back and see like what I looked like last year and then what I look like now. And it is night and day. I mean, I still look the same. I'm actually a little bit smaller, but more muscular than before. And I feel like how I look is one thing, but how I feel amazing. Like I'm waking up earlier without an alarm clock. I have so much more energy. I feel like my skin is clearer without having to use so many products. Everything, my hair looks better. So I really feel like your body, when it's like doing its best and it's fit, is like firing all cylinders for sure.
So for women who are listening, and yeah, check out her Instagram because that's where I saw this. That's why I was like, oh my God, look at what's going on over there.
Oh, and we do actually on my Instagrams for everyone, we do like free workouts every Monday morning well, it's 10:30 Central Time, but wherever you're located. And they stay on my Instagram. So if you scroll back on Mondays, like you can follow along and like learn some different workout techniques if that's what you're interested in. Sometimes we do home workouts, sometimes we do gym, but we try to make it so you can always follow along. And yeah, so that's kind of my public service to all women who want to be fitter.
Awesome. So I love that you said that because I was gonna say, is it ever too late to get started? Like, what if you're someone who's listening and you don't really have a huge athletic background and now
You don't need it. I mean, some people just want to be able to get down on the floor and play with their grandchildren and be able to get back up. So everyone has different goals. We have women in our GlowFit program who are 75 years old and have never worked out in their life and have had injuries, but now want to kind of be able to be more mobile. And so we can like cater to each person, and it's never too late. As long as you're not paralyzed, it's never too late. And even if you are paralyzed, you could still do stuff with your neck or, whatever you have movement for. Our bodies are meant to move. Like we are not meant to be just stagnant. And when you think about water, like stagnant water is where disease breeds. And so you don't want to just be sedentary and stagnant. And unfortunately, our society has made it so it's very, very easy to never leave your chair. You can order groceries, you can pay your bills, you can work, you go to school, you can do anything you need to do from your chair And so it's almost like you have to be a little bit of an oddball out to like get movement into your day. You have to be like, okay, I'm not going to sit at my chair. I'm going to get outside and do something. And it's almost like, oh, you're going out there? Like, that's crazy. Or,
Yeah.
like all the get-togethers, like, oh, we're getting together, we're gonna go to a restaurant, we're getting together, we're gonna eat cake, we're getting together, we're gonna have a drink. It's not like we're getting together, we're gonna go for a walk, we're getting together, we're gonna play pickleball, we're getting together, we're gonna go work out. And so incorporating movement into your lifestyle and incorporating healthy eating. Like we have a birthday party this weekend, but it's one of our fitness friends. So we're doing like detox drinks and we're having barbecue and we're doing protein cake. And so it's all kind of like that's the lifestyle that we want. And so you might not be able to do that with everybody, but you can make other choices. You can always, I go to a restaurant, and even if the menu is not what I want, they usually have like a salad that you can get, like add chicken or add steak or add salmon. So what I do is I order a side of salmon, a side of steak, a side of chicken, a salad, and a sweet potato. And so I make my own meals. And that is actually a really good hack because it's a lot less expensive than if you would order like a salmon meal and a chicken meal, but you can get like all the good stuff as sides. And so that's kind of like my hack for getting protein when you're eating out without all the sauces and out all the things that are so like calorie laden.
Yeah, I think it's really mindset, right? Like if you're in the mindset when you eat out or when you travel or when you go with friends,
Yeah.
you be motivated. You can always make it work.
I feel like if you have a goal too, so like for me, like having like a big scary goal, like having to step on a bodybuilding stage in front of an audience in a very small, sparkly bikini, that's a pretty big, good goal to keep you on track. But not everyone wants to do that. So in our program, we have people pick goals like a photo shoot, or they buy a dress that they don't quite fit into yet. And that's the goal, is to fit into that dress, or to go to the water park with their kids and not feel like they have to be all like uncomfortable, or to wear that pair of shorts. So like those goals are, they kind of have like a specific date, and you know that that's going to happen. So every time you like go to make a choice, you're like, I'm going to be on stage in a bikini, or I'm going to be at a photo shoot and the photos are going to get taken. So I might as well have them taken the way I want them. And so it's just a little motivating and something to look forward to, because when we were in school and we had like sports and stuff, we had our coaches to keep us accountable. We had our teachers to keep us accountable. But as adults, we really don't have that accountability as much anymore. And so it's nice to like have something to tie your goal to, like a date and an event, so that you can stay accountable to yourself, or to have a community where you can all help each other be accountable.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's one of the best things about social media is you can have a community, I know
Yeah,
myself personally, like I'll go on and proclaim something on social media because I'm like, all right, now I said it, now it's got to happen, right?
exactly, exactly.
So it is good to do that. So what happens in the Glow Fit program? Is it like an 8-week program? Is it
It's actually an ongoing program. And so what happens is people fill out kind of an assessment form where they give us their height, their weight, their medical conditions, any injuries, what their goals are, what they're currently eating, what their exercise currently looks like, whether they want to work out from home or whether they want to go to a gym.
hmm,
And then we customize a nutrition plan for them with their macros. So like their proteins, fats, and carbs, they'll get recipes, but then they can also off-road it basically, so they can eat what they want as long as it falls within those. But we give you coaching on how to understand what that means. And then we also have workout plans. So Monday through Friday, actually 6 days a week, there's something that you can do, but 3 days are the weight training days. And so you have full-on follow-along workouts with demos, and then you have the cardio. If you want to do the cardio, it's not mandatory. We just want you to move every day. And then every week we do weekly accountability and coaching calls. So any questions, any issues. And then also we have a group where people post every day, and they can post up a video of them doing an exercise so that we can check their form. And Coach Gijon will then send them back a video. Okay, that looked good, but I need you to do this, this, and this so that everyone's got the proper form, everyone's got the proper technique, and we're all cheering each other on. And then we also have some meetups around the country that we go to where they get invited to where they can like meet us in person and work out with us. And then we do follow along workouts once or twice a week where it's kind of a different workout or it's sometimes a home-based workout just to kind of add variety in. Then so yeah, and it's a really fun, really empowering community, and the women there are getting amazing results.
That is so awesome. And I keep thinking of questions to ask you, and then you answer them or I get to ask them. But one of the things I'm always concerned about are telling my patients, like when you're going to embark on a workout, especially, when you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s,
Mhm.
like you don't want to injure yourself in your 40s.
Yes.
So I love that you guys that's like amazing feedback because that's
Yeah, that's everything we do is like safety first. Hormone balance is also of utmost importance because a lot of the workout programs out there are designed for like 20-year-olds by
right.
20-year-olds, maybe designed by ChatGPT. I'm not really sure, but a lot of times it's about like burning you out, and then that's going to take a hit on your adrenals, and that's going to take a hit on your estrogen and progesterone, which we can't afford that right now. We need to keep everything as balanced as possible. And the truth is, when you're in that stress state, when you're in that kind of like fight or flight state, that's not where your body is going to be performing at its best. And it's not where you're going to be building the muscle. It's where you're actually going to be breaking down muscle. So, especially for women, especially in this age group, we really need to focus first on safety, second on hormonal balance, and then making sure that the form is correct and making sure that we're getting the most bang for our buck because we are busy women. We don't have 3 hours to spend at the gym every day. And so we need to make sure that we're getting what we need and it's customizable to the person, whether they have an injury or they need to do a modification. So that's all part of the program. And I'm super excited about it because I got the most amazing results from these techniques. And I cannot gatekeep this because I'm 51, so I've spent the last like 40 years basically learning different ways to exercise, and they've all been very hard, and I'm a hard worker. And so I will do the hard things, but this has been like the shortcut almost that nobody really talks about. And so I'm just super excited to share it and see women in their 70s and women in their 40s and women who are athletes and women who have never worked out all getting like these amazing results.
I love I know. And I have that mindset too. Like when it comes to exercise, like it's so hard to get, like, it's got to be hard. I got to be dripping. I got to
Yeah, yeah.
be
And
sweating.
even sometimes still, I'm just like, oh, did we really do enough? You know? But then like realizing that the
Obviously, you
recovery,
did. Look at your
yeah,
body.
yeah,
Like,
right. Realizing that the recovery, and then as you get more fit, it doesn't take as much to maintain it. So a lot of times people look at Keyshawn, my trainer, and they'll be like, oh, you must work out for like hours at a time. And he really doesn't because he can work out less than I do because he only has to maintain what he has. So it's really even cooler as you get more into the program, you need less to do, and you get to eat more, do less, but you actually like
yeah.
have the energy to do more things. Like, because we're not working out and getting fit just so we can do more working out. We're doing that so that we can go paddle boarding and we can go for a walk in the park and we can pick up our grandkids and we can lift our groceries, right? We're doing it so we can do fun stuff and we can live our life just better.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm so that what we, what we do now, I always think is, I say to patients, like, who do you want to be 30 years from now? Because building that person, and you again answered a question I was going to ask, like, is it something, yeah, like if you take a week off or you go away, it's like not like you're going to
Oh,
lose.
absolutely. You're not going to lose your fitness, especially if you are maintaining somewhat of your nutrition. Like we are at the 80-20 rule. So for the nutrition, 80% of the time you're following the program, 20% of the time you can eat whatever you want because your body can, it's
Handle it.
actually good for your body to have like the extra calories sometimes to kind of like refuel. So it's not, and if you take a week off, you're not going to lose your muscle. You're not going to lose your fitness. You just don't want the week to turn into 2 weeks, to turn into a month, to turn into 2 months, right? Because that can sometimes happen. You fall off the wagon. But the supportive community will kind of reassure that like you are not behind at all. You're actually sometimes come back stronger because you had that time off. And the body actually will be like more adapted to be able to do even better. And so, yeah, it's very forgiving.
Yeah, no, that's amazing and super inspiring. So, is there anything else you want to add that you think the women listening need to
Yeah,
know?
well, I just want to say it's interesting that you said like who you want to be in 30 years because not everyone knows my story, but I was diagnosed with ovarian failure at age 20, and I went the majority of my adult life thinking I would never be able to have kids until I fixed a bunch of like Hashimoto's thyroiditis and heavy metal toxicity and gut parasites and things that were going wrong in my body. And then I was able to like actually get my cycle back and have my son at age 41. So he's 10 years old now, and I'm 51. So some of my motivation is just to be around for him and to be not like in a wheelchair or like in a hospital bed when he gets married and when he's an adult. And so like that is a huge motivator for me to always like take the best care of my body and to make it as strong as possible. And for women listening, like sometimes it might be just osteoporosis diagnosis, that you really want, you don't want to be on the drugs. You really want to build that bone. And so the best way to do that is two things: weight training and making sure estrogen levels are sufficient. And those two things are really going to be the best thing you can do for your bone, not any like bone drug. And so, yeah, there's different motivations for everybody. Sometimes it's just energy, sometimes longevity, sometimes it's aesthetics, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you just want to look hot in your
Sure.
bikini or look hot in your dress, hey, more power to you. Confidence and like how if we look good and we feel good, that can lead to just more happiness, more gratitude. You might be nicer to other people. So it's nothing discounted here, but it's not just about how you look, it's how you feel that makes the hugest difference. And also just how your body, the health and overall wellness of your body.
Yeah, you made me think. I was thinking, and feel like we talked about this last time I interviewed you, but like that Amy Cuddy TED Talk where like she does the Superwoman pose
Oh
and
yeah, well that is actually a bodybuilding pose.
oh, is it really? And it
Yes, they call
changes
it the
your
Wonder Woman
hormones.
pose. Yeah, because it actually like shows your lats and like your muscles and your leg muscles too. So we have to do this little routine to music in one of my bodybuilding shows, and that's part of my routine is the Wonder Woman pose.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So yeah, I love that you said that because yeah, we don't discount like if you want to look good, that's important. That's medicine too, right? You want to feel good inside, you want to look good, you want to be happy when you look in the mirror. And I love that you talk about like this is, you're not like, I've been working on this for the last 20 years, like
Yeah, no, it's
on
a very fast
transformation.
change. And even for people who are starting out at a very different place, whether they're overweight or injured, it's also a fast change for them. And they're going to keep their journey is going to be a little bit longer. But the other thing besides how you look and how you feel, like your disease risk drops dramatically. Heart
Mhm.
disease, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, cancer, dementia, Alzheimer's, it all drops drastically because your blood sugar is going to be balanced and your hormones are going to be balanced and you're just going to be a healthier, stronger, harder to kill individual.
I was thinking when we first started talking, I'm thinking she gonna make it to like 150.
Yeah,
Those
that's
muscles.
the goal. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Uh,
And finding, you have such a beautiful why, and everyone listening, we all have a beautiful why of why we wanna, I have my grandbabies, and it's like I want to see their babies, and then I'm like, and then I'm gonna want to see
yes.
babies,
And
and
I mean, the way science is progressing, we already have like computer generated red blood cells, and they're already like making 3D printed like livers. So who knows? By the time we get to 80, maybe we will be able to live forever. You never know.
I know it's exciting stuff. Well, you are just, you know, you're we I always talk about how like we have this opportunity to change what aging, how it's defined, what it looks like, and that, we're in this beautiful place and you are certainly leading the way in doing it. And so I just, honor that so much in you. And I'm sure you have inspired every woman listening. And so do they just go to like glowfit.com or
If
should
they
they?
go to glownaturalwellness.com, they can find it, or they can go to my Instagram, Dr. Michelle Sands, and DM me, and I'm happy to send you information or share my workout program with you. But I can also give you a link, Dr. Sharon, for your audience if they want to do a free metabolic assessment with myself and Coach Kijan. He will actually like be able to look at what they're currently doing and identify any like blocking areas, anything that might be blocking them from actually getting their best fit.
Oh, cool. So how would they
Yeah.
do that?
I just send you a link and they can book. It's like a 15-minute call. They'll fill out a little form ahead of time so he knows what they're dealing with. And then he can kind of ask them some questions and kind of identify, is it the nutrition? Is it the workouts? Is it the recovery? Is it the hormones? Like what might it be or what the combination, and give you guys some like actionable steps to move forward.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank
Yes.
you for being here. So go check her out. Go follow her on Instagram. I'm enjoying following you on Instagram.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to put
Inspiring.
out some good content and things that people can actually use.
Yes. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sponsoring the summit and all that you do to just
Thank you for being such a
work
beacon of
in it.
light for women. We need more of us.
Yes, we definitely do, but we're getting it handled. We're getting it handled. So
Well,
thank
it's always
you.
such a pleasure getting to spend time with you, Dr. Sharon, and being part of your amazing events.
Oh, thank you. You too. And thank you everyone for being here. So, we hit inspiration, we hit practical, we hit good health and muscles and nutrition. And so very, very valuable time and conversation. So go check her out and we'll see you for another talk soon.
Bye. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to Dr. Talks. We hope today's episode has enlightened and inspired you on your path to optimal health. Each day is a new opportunity to make choices that empower your well-being. For more insights and strategies, subscribe to our podcast and visit our website, www.drtalks.com. Stay connected, stay healthy, and join us next time on Dr. Talks. Real talks from real doctors on the issues that matter to you most.